On this episode, I talk about Jessica Ennis, I talk about Usain Bolt, I talk about Mo Farah, and I also happen to talk a little bit about brewing tea. I don't know why. Watch the T&T show. Here's my two teas for the week. This is the T&T show. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the T&T show. I'm your host, Anandjay Silva, and today we're talking about, what are we talking about today, Chowders? We're talking about the World Championship athletics that are taking place in Beijing. Now obviously in 2008, you had the Olympics that took place in the same stadium, otherwise known as the Bird's Nest. That's what they call it, Chowders, do you know that? They call it the Bird's Nest. Not the birds, but the bird's nest, but depends how you want to call it, right? So, what tea have we got this week for you? Well, actually, this week we don't even have a tea for you. We're going to talk a little bit about brewing. Because, you know, sometimes in athletics, things happen so fast. And a lot of people like to brew their tea. So, a lot of people who use tea bags, or whether they, you know, are brewing loose leaf tea, I've seen a lot of people, you know, they'll take their tea bag, put it in their mug, plonk it in, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 dips if you're lucky, pull the tea bag out, milk, sugar, stir, and then drink. Now, when you brew tea, guys, the only thing that you get when you plonk your tea bag in and just, you know, dip it up and down a few times, you know, and then squeeze it and pull it out, the only two things you're getting is color and caffeine. And, you know, a lot of tea bags use CTC, cut, tear, and curl tea, which this is ideal for. You get the color very quickly, you know, you'll get a bit of caffeine, but the goodness in the tea, the flavor in the tea is not coming out. So especially if you're using orthodox tea, you know, you're not going to get the real flavor, the real character in a tea if you don't brew it properly. So what's the best way to brew black tea? Let's talk about that first. The best way to brew black tea is this. You take your tea leaf or your tea bag, whichever you're using, you put it in, you use, you know, freshly drawn, you know, water straight from the tap. Some areas will have will have very soft water, which will actually give you a better brew. You know, hard water doesn't technically make good tea. If you want to know more about how to brew tea, click up here to episode 4 of the PMD T Buyers Club, where I talk about the importance of water quality. But going back to this episode, you draw your fresh water from the tap, or if you want to use bottled water, use that. Boil it up to 100 degrees Celsius. You take the freshly boiled water, put it into your teapot. Give your teapot a good stir, let the leaves move around, and then place the lid. It's very important that you place the lid back on the pot, or you place the lid back on your mug, to stop the aroma that's going to come out of that tea leaf evaporating into the atmosphere. You want to leave that in the cup. And, you know, in terms of time, unlike, you know, Usain Bolt on his 100-meter sprint, where he's going to do it in, you know, under 10 seconds, you want to leave your black tea anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. Now, brewing tea is quite a subjective thing. There's certain teas that you might want to brew for less. Sometimes you might want to brew them for longer, but you don't want to brew your tea for any more than 5 minutes. And after your 5 minute, you know, 3 to 5 minute time, pour out your tea using a tea strainer, and you know, sit back, sip and enjoy. There you go, guys. That's how you brew tea. If you have any questions on how to brew tea, talk to me up here on the Old Course Hotel. Chowders link it up. And as ever, guys, I'll catch you on next week's show of the PMD T&T show. I was about to say the PMD T Buyers Club, Chowders. Don't cut that out. Leave that in there.